Alright, here's the beast of all beasts in algebra. The first thing you learn in algebra, as far as operations go, and this is straight up just math and manipulation. You use this in balancing your checkbook, balancing your bank accounts. If you have credit cards, savings account, checking account, this is when you would use this kind of math, alright? So it is a very useful skill. It is also one of the basic skills for logic-based thinking, making logical arguments. All right. So first thing we're going to talk about are rules to solving multi-step equations. All right. You should have already learned how to solve equations in one step. Here's some properties you're going to need to know. And there's a lot of words here you can read. That's fine. But I'm going to tell you, if you add a number to both sides of an equation, an equal sign, it does not change the fact that it is still equal. See, 3 plus 5 is 8. 3 plus 5 is 8. Both sides are going to be equal as long as you've added to both sides of your equal sign. Subtracting from both sides of your equal sign doesn't change the fact that it's equal. Multiplying on both sides of your equal sign does not change the fact that it's equal, and dividing on both sides of your equal sign doesn't change the fact that it is equal. So these are all properties that you can perform on any equation. As long as you do it to both sides of your equation, it'll keep them balanced so that there's nothing weird going on. It's a balancing act, okay? So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and solve equations, okay? So first thing you need to know about inverse operations: addition, subtraction are inverses of each other. So another way of doing it, they undo each other. So if I'm adding 5 apples to Johnny's pile of apples, then I would subtract 5 apples to get him back to where he used to be. All right. Same with multiplication and division; they undo one another. All right. So with that said, they are inverses of each other. They kind of go together. Let's look at these one-step equations. Now, these one-step equations, these should be very familiar to you. And I'm not going to make you write the property here. I just want you to get familiar with how to do this process. We'll try an activity in class. That'll help illustrate it a little bit better. But just for the sake of you understanding this explanation, check this out. So here's my variable. The goal of all these problems is I want to know what that variable is. Right now I don't know. That's why it's a letter. It means I don't know what it is. So I need to figure out what that value is. Well, this variable plus 15 equals 18. That's almost like saying if I give Johnny 15 apples, he will have 18 apples total. All right, so this is how many apples Johnny has. If I give him 15 more, he'll have 18. So what do? We use one of those properties from before. I'm going to subtract 15 apples. All right. So if Johnny has 18 and it's 15 more than what it used to be, then all I got to do is take 15 away. And once I do that, nothing happens to Johnny. Johnny's still Johnny. But 15 minus 15 gives me 0. And that equals, since I did it to both sides, it's still equal. 18 minus 15 is 3. So Johnny had 3 apples before I gave him 15. All right. So x equals 3. So this would be the solution to the equation, x equals 3. I figured out what my variable's value is in one step. All right, check this out. How about this? Well, again, we're adding. This is a negative number. So in order to, I want to make this 0 just like I did over here. I want to get that w by itself. Well, I have 7 negatives. So if you add 7 positives, these two will become 0. Will add and become 0. And that'll leave w by itself. Well, if I do it to one side, in order for this to remain equal, I have to do it to this other side, right? So negative 2 plus 7, that's positive 5. There, I solved the equation. This is a one-step equation. All right, we're going to get into multi-step in a second. All right, well, what about this negative 6? Again, this is minus 6, so you're going to add 6, and that'll make this 0. And n will still remain n. And this, in order for it to stay equal, you have to do it to both sides. So minus 9 plus 6, that's negative 3. Okay. All right. So all these two-step equations work the same. Or one-step equations work the same. It is one operation. It's take the inverse operation. So this was addition, so we're going to subtract. This was addition. but because it was negative, I'm not going to subtract, I added. See, that sign makes a difference. You got to pay attention to your signs. Alright, over here, this is a negative 6, we're going to add 6. Well, down here, I have 2 times y. Well, the inverse is division, so we're going to divide by 2. And I'm going to do it over here as well, divide by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times y is 1. Okay. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. And just like that, in one swift step, we've solved the equation. Over here, I can divide by 2/5. This might be easier to do in the calculator, but you can divide by 2/5. There is an easier way, but to be consistent, you can divide by 2/5. That's fine. So if I divide this by 2/5, okay, this would divide and become 1, which would leave you a by itself, and then you would have to figure out what the division on this would be. All right, and if I'm not mistaken, it should be 4/3. Okay, so that is this. All right, over here, well, C is being divided by 5. The inverse to division is multiplication. Because I'm doing the inverse, these do divide out and become 1, leaving C by itself. Notice how I operated on the right side, and I'm going to operate on the left side the same way, times 5. It's always multiplied by the numerator, so 5 times 3 is 15 divided by 10. And you can simplify this. This is 3/2. Okay. So we have these one-step equations. Alright, now this video is going a little bit long, so I'm going to post this as a video for solving one-step equations, and I'm going to go into the next video of how to solve two-step equations. Alright.